Hello, hello. Welcome to the Mother Days podcast. I am your host, Sarah Wright Olsen.
And I'm Teresa Palmer. Woo woo. We have another Ask Us Anything episode today. So It's a shorty but a goodie.
It's a shorty but a goodie. I was just telling Teresa as we got on that I am here in Idaho still. And I just got my hair cut here. And she was like, oh, how much was it? And I was like, $35. And I was like,
that's Idaho. Woohoo.
Before I left LA, I was like, you know what? I'm not getting my hair cut. It is so expensive to get your hair cut in LA. And anyway, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to order a pair of scissors off of Amazon and I'm going to cut my hair myself.
You're going to do it yourself?
Yeah, because I was like, I'm not spending the money on doing that. And then, thank goodness, I ran into someone here that was like, oh, we have a great barber here and they'll cut your hair. And I was like, awesome. How much is it? And they were like, $35. And I was like, boom, it's a deal.
Done, y'all. Done.
I used to get my hair cut by
so
this.
good.
Thanks, guys.
I love the little waves
Teresa,
that you have in your hair. Do you plait your hair?
Well, I just did. Yeah, I had it braided, but it is wavy like this all the time. So
nice.
Luckily enough, I know yours is like that too. So our last Ask Us Anything episode, we sort of got to the end of it and we were like, oh, we really wanted to touch on this topic of healthy eating with kids and like setting up, good healthy eating habits in the family and, whether you're vegan or vegetarian or pescatarian or you eat some animal meat, then, we just kind of wanted to like touch on that because the question was, how do you get your kids to eat healthy food?
And it was from Cameron Catcham.
Well, yes. So Cameron Ketchum's asking us about healthy eating and exercise. And then person from the last time was asking us about eating healthy with our kids. So how do you get your kids? Let's
smash them. Let's smash those two
smash it together. Okay. So how do you get your kids to eat healthy, Teresa?
Well, I talked about this last time. Always have the baseline of the love well. So they have their grow every morning. So at least I know. I'm like, okay, cool. They enjoy their smoothie. They crave it. We make it together as a family activity. We are a vegan family. So, and our supplements are vegan as well, Lovewell, which is my nutritional supplement company. We like to add in it a tablespoon of almond butter. So we love the sort of creaminess and it almost gives a caramel taste to the smoothies. So we do frozen banana, 2 heaped teaspoons of Lovewell per kid. So in our family, times that by 4. While we've been here in Byron, times that by 7. Yeah, I know. We go through our grow packages a lot faster than most people.
You're like going through a lot of almond butter. That's like
I know, which is expensive. Almond butter is really expensive.
Yeah,
but it's so good. It's one of those things that I've had ever since I got interested in healthy eating. In about 2010, 2011, almond butter has been such a staple of mine because it's really rich in protein, but also the great healthy kind of fats. So, and you can't use it for kids at school either because any nut butters, any of that stuff, you can't pack in your kids' lunches because of children who are allergic to nuts. So whenever we're at home, we incorporate that in breakfast. So we do it in the smoothie. And then what we do as a family, so my kids are obsessed with cereal, obsessed. And I do not let them have cereal.
Yeah.
I'm like the mean mummy that
I know. We don't have cereal.
Absolutely not. Like there's too much sugar. I do not let them. But like I'm so funny because I probably have more boundaries when it comes to cereal, but then I'm quite open to letting them have boba tea with me. So Mark's always like, what? That's so hypocritical. Like, you won't let me give them cereal.
Okay, here's why I don't think that's true. You have to look at the type of sugars. You got to look at like anything that comes in a box or a bag is going to have preservatives in it. It's going to be made in a lab over being made like, pulled from the ground or the earth. Like boba tea, like yes, boba tea has some added sugar to it. It can, and it also sometimes it doesn't.
You can also ask for it without sugar.
Yeah, but I mean, at least like the ingredients in that drink are just a few ingredients. It's not like cereal that has like so many additives and ingredients and like
so many things.
Yeah, it's
and also for the morning. Like not to start the day.
Yeah,
I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna start the day like giving them a smoothie that is so nutritious and then they're gonna just put junk on top of that.
No, I know.
I have this thing, if they decide that they have to have cereal, because Mark's like, all right, I've bought the cereal, and he tries to get the healthier kind, but even then I'm like, is there such a thing? Is there such a thing? I will make all the kids, I make them the yummiest on sourdough bread, because we love sourdough in our family, smashed avo. So how I make it is I just smash the avocado down. So again, really good, healthy source of fats. So smash it down, and then I do a drizzle of olive oil on top and a sprinkling of lemon juice so that it tastes like lemon infused olive oil, which is really nice. We do salt, we do pepper, and then our family, because we're vegan, a really good source of protein is nutritional yeast, and it tastes so good.
It's our favorite. We eat it every day.
Do you? It's so good for your body. High in like B12. It's really amazing. So I sprinkle that on top of avocado toast.
Is it the Bragg's? Yeah. That's the one we get.
It is we always say it's such a vegan staple to have in your household, because you add nutritional yeast to everything. And you guys aren't vegan and you add it to everything as well. So it's really healthy.
We've had such a food journey though with our family. Like we used to be like full on all the meat every meal, all the time. Meat. Back in the day. And then when Esme, I think was like 1 or something, then we stopped eating meat altogether. And then we tried being vegan, and then we sort of did like vegetarian for a while, and like for 3 years.
And then pescatarian.
For 3 years we were vegetarian, and then we would also eat some fish. So pescatarian. And then when I got pregnant with Winter, we started incorporating a little bit of like grass-fed, organic, regenerative agriculture, farming, like very clean, beef. And so we have a little bit of meat, and then everything else. So what's funny, and elk, I did for the 4th, I had this, I think that's what it was. It was either elk or bison, but we had this, was called like a Frito pie. And so this is not healthy eating.
I was like,
okay?
Oh my God.
I was at like a 4th of July festivity. This is the opposite of the way that I eat on a normal day-to-day basis. This is like, bottom of the barrel. It's like a bag of Fritos with some like chili on top, cheese, onions. But I will say it's very American. And if you're going to eat something on the 4th, then, it could be vegetarian chili, and then that changes everything, right? But this one was not vegetarian. I'm not going to lie about it. It was elk or bison, That's my truth.
It's so easy to eat junky food. It's so easy. Like Mark and I will so often, although Mark's on such a major health kick right now, he is shredding. So even last night, like our friends Chrissy and James were here in Byron Bay, they have had a private chef come and like cook all these meals for the week.
Jeez.
And the chef is mainly plant-based, but because our friends eat meat, they have one of them, like let's say the lasagna that we had the other night is a vegan lasagna, and then they have a vegan lasagna, but the chef added the animal meat. So we all get to still eat together. We're eating the same kind of thing, but theirs has the animal protein. So even with that, Mark has been I was like, it's lasagna. It's like beautiful made home lasagna, like by this incredible chef. even there, Mark's had a sliver, just a tiny little piece of it, and then ate way more of the greens. And like he's on such a health kick, but he can very easily go down a path where, and I am swayed by him so much. So now he's on a health kick. I'm like, yes, I'm also enjoying being healthy. If he like goes for the vegan burger fries, I am right there with him. I'm like, yes, the juicy feral, like dripping down your chin. Like, I love it. And I have to say, on my last movie, I ate so unhealthily. I was I would eat, well, I had this like greasy pasta every single day.
Oh my God.
And I would have my avocado toast with my nutritional yeast, but like I wasn't up on top of my protein because I like to be really super aware of my protein. Like so in greens, if you have like a big cup full of greens, you can get 8 grams of protein, but I wasn't even having greens on my movie. Like I was just like, pasta, carbs, boba tea, salt and vinegar chips. And I can get into phases like that. And as long as you can wheel it back and return back to the healthy eating, then you're good. So that's what we do at our house. Like we try and start the day off really well. If it falls apart in the middle of the day and the kids want a snack that's not quite as healthy, we always try to return back to health. So if baseline can be health with enough vegan protein, and for the person who asked about being pregnant and vegan, there's actually an amazing book that I had, which is called Your Complete Vegan Pregnancy, and it's an all-in-one guide to healthy, holistic, plant-based pregnancy by Reed Mangels. So I had this book on my shelf when I first was pregnant and vegan, which I think was with Poet. I've only been vegan through 2 of my pregnancies, the last 2. And I just read that to make sure that I was keeping up with all my proteins and being healthy and trying not to dip into all the sort of junky habits that I can tend to dip into when I'm pregnant. I'm like, I like was it your second pregnancy where you're like, woo, I'm just going to eat whatever I want.
Oh, yeah. Oh, when I was pregnant with Esme, it was like, when I was pregnant with Wyatt, all I wanted was like jalapenos and hot sauce and like everything that's, if my mouth wasn't burning and my eyes were watering, like I wasn't eating enough spicy food. Like that was just all I wanted. And I so wanted flaming hot Cheetos, but Eric was like, you are not eating that garbage. Like that is so bad for you. And so, and I was like, you're right, I'm not eating that, but give me like a pot of jalapenos and I could just like throw it down, you know?
Oh my God.
So anyway, but in my second pregnancy, it was like all about donuts. Like I wanted donuts.
That's right.
I wanted everything sweet. Like I would eat tons and tons of fruit, but I would just wanted cakes and everything. And I ate a lot. I remember having like 2 milkshakes in a week and I was like, this is too far. This is too much. Like I am not used to having this much sugar, and milkshakes are like something I would have like 2 times a year, like maybe 3 times a year. Like that was not like a normal thing for me. And I had 2 in a week. And so I was like, okay, this can definitely become a problem, you know?
Oh my gosh. How nice though. It's delicious.
Yeah.
I had donuts the other night at the little market. They had these vegan cinnamon donuts, and Mark goes and buys, and because he's on his health kick, he won't eat any of them, but he goes and buys like a dozen of them. And I'm like, well, if they're just sitting there, then I just must eat them, because then they're just a waste.
Exactly.
They have to be eaten, you know?
So in our family, I will say we're actually really similar. The kids will have an avocado toast in the morning, and they usually will do it. We have these like regenerative agriculture, like gluten-free bagels that we get because I'm celiac, but the kids actually have a mixture of both. So if it's like something that's like gluten-free that has a whole bunch of junk in it, then that's not what we're going to go for. We've started to like see if they can handle having some wheat. And so we'll get them like the cleanest, like bakery loaf, or we'll make our own bread, which we have a bread machine. And so we do that a lot too. But we have that in the morning with some avocado, or I'll make eggs. My favorite like breakfast brunch thing to make is something that Mark actually turned me on to when we were commune living, which is like a sweet potato hash. And so it's like sweet potatoes with like peppers and onions and tofu, and you like scramble everything together, and it's so good. And you put like a bunch of kale in there. So
delish.
we have that a lot. But honestly, like if you're thinking about what is it, how do we get our kids to eat healthy? One of them is modeling it. It's like the things that you're eating, that you're snacking on, like what it is that you make for a meal. You make that meal for everybody. You don't like make your meal and then make the kids something else. Like really, and you know, maybe the first couple of times it's like a fight and you can only get a couple of bites into them or like whatever it is. But you really want to model like we're eating together, we're having the same food, like this is the food that nourishes our body. We eat these things because they make us healthy and strong and like grow bigger and, you know, all of those things. So, you know, we have a lot of conversations surrounding that. We always have with our kids. Yes, they love pasta and French fries and hot dogs and burgers and like all the things, just like any other kid does. But the normal day-to-day food, we're talking vegetables, proteins, nuts and nut butters and fruit, and trying to get like a colorful plate going. And that's not always easy. And we know that. So I have lots of friends who have kids who have, you know, just sensitivities, like there's certain things are slimy or weird. And, you know, Winter is my youngest and she's by far the most sensitive to food. There's things that she can't eat and she doesn't want to, but I always just say like, just try it. Just try it. Give me like a couple of bites. Just try it. And it's not her thing, you know, like she'll like spit it out. But I know for sure.
At least she's trying it.
But I know she'll eat avocado. I know there's a few things that I'm like, I know that I can give that to her sort of on the side. Like broccoli, she loves broccoli. So I'm like,
so does Prairie.
At least I know that that's like a backup if I need it. And if she's like really hungry. But I'm just always trying to like slip in things. And sometimes you guys, like the bento box, I post about bento boxes a lot. A bento box is this like little lunchbox and it makes everything look so fun and cute and separated. And like your broccoli goes here, your hummus is here, your carrots are here. You have a whole row of blueberries with cute little strawberries, you know, next to it. And then you have your main little like veggie wrap or whatever it is that you have in there. And so the kids like, you know, they get to pick and choose and eat, but you know that all the things that they're choosing, if they're even choosing like two or three things, they're going to be nourishing and healthy for them. So it's one way to try to incorporate healthy things is by presenting it in a way that looks more exciting to the kids. You know, it's creative.
Yeah. I wanted to jump on what you said because I think that is so important, Sarah, because so many parents I know will cook children-friendly foods and then have something separate for like themselves and their partner, something a little bit more creative in the tastes. But we used to do that. We did used to do that because we were like, oh, look, we know that they're going to have this kind of pasta. Like one of the go-to pastas was like, pasta with pine nuts and for their protein and, you know, olive oil and broccoli and olives. That was like one of their main things that they used to love. So now that they're a little bit older, and I think Prairie gets the benefit of this being so little, that little girl will eat anything, no matter how crazy it might taste, like spicy stuff. She will just pound everything and anything because we really switched up from making separate meals for the kids. And it's been a great example here in Byron, having this fancy chef cook these meals. He made a vegan curry, and last night Mark's like, oof, I don't know, like let's just see. And, you know, our friends here were like, our kids are definitely not going to eat that. And I think they gave one of their kids the curry and their other two, they made them something more plain. And Mark's like, all right. I was like, do you know what? Let's just see. Let's put it in front of them and let's just encourage them to eat it and say, yep, that's dinner. That's it. That's what you get. And all of them ate it. Every single one of them ate it. And it took them a moment. Like they had their first bite and I could see them all sort of processing it, apart from Prairie, who's just pounding it. She's like, wow, yum. Like she knows no different because we haven't done that with her. We haven't given her child-friendly foods and she's almost 2. So we've just let her have all the adult food. And I have to say it's made such a big difference. And I kind of wish that I did that earlier. But all the others are really getting there now, especially Bodhi. He's got a really creative, like he'll experiment with his palate. It's amazing. And Forrest and Poet are really getting there now too. So I think your point is really important to just highlight, because it's worth giving it a go, starting to transition away from just like the melted cheese sandwiches after school and like the plain pasta that, you know, your kids will eat, or the pizza or the garlic bread. And you can, no age is too young to start doing that.
Yes, no, for sure. I mean, we just went on a trip and we went to this restaurant, and Wyatt is like, look, I have an appetite, you know, like he's in water polo, he's in swim, and he's like, can't be ordering off the children's menu. And we're always like, order off the children's menu. We were like staying at a hotel and like the kids menu's free, you know, but a lot of, but a lot of times it's like, you know, it's like the same thing where it's like hamburgers and pasta and hot dogs, and some are more creative than others, some places. And this place was actually much more creative. So it's like you could get like a Caesar salad or like, you know, whatever. There was like a few different options that were great. And he was like, but I really want the squid ink pasta. And I was like, Okay, well,
$35. Sure.
Like $35 later, I'm like, okay, so I've created a monster. I mean, he's like, I'll have the squid, and
oh god,
can I also get? You know, they're just, it's amazing. I love it.
It gets to that age, doesn't it? And you're like, wow.
You're like,
this is when they say, because like I don't notice how expensive the additional children are until they get to like Bodhi's age, and all of a sudden
you're like,
you are ordering like 4 different, it's like one for Isaac, like one for Mark, one for me,
dial
one for
down where we go and eat. It's like, okay, well, Chipotle, sofritas sounds great right now.
You love Chipotle. I feel like they need to sponsor the podcast.
I do. It's so funny. Even for Mother's Day, I went to Chipotle because I was like, those crispy tacos. My kids became so obsessed with the vegan sofritas when we were like not eating meat. Wow. And so they eat that. It's like tofu, and it's in all these like spices and stuff. And so that's their like favorite thing to have. And so
I love tofu. Tofu done right. Tofu done
right
is
so
not
bad.
great.
No bueno.
Great. So
no bueno.
plain.
Yes.
It needs to have all the spices. It needs to be like have the little crispy edge. And and not too, for me, I don't like the big chunks of it. I want it to be like
I know,
cut into small little dice.
Yes.
Yeah. Yum, like a tofu scramble. Good. Yum.
Delish. Okay, what's our next question?
Well, we have a question from Gemma Dale.
Okay.
Hi, Gemma. She says, can you talk about your extended breastfeeding journey, feeding through toddlerhood? She has an 18-month-old who is very rough. Oh, yeah. Girl.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. I feel you, girl. Oh.
Yeah. You are currently, of the two of us, you are currently breastfeeding the oldest child. I weaned my 4-year-old a couple of months ago.
I was like, just recently.
Yeah. A couple of months ago, she said bye-bye to that last breastfeed before bed.
I know.
So how's Winter with the extended breastfeeding?
She loves to have her milkies, like, you know, she always from the time that she could talk or gesture, she was telling me when it was time for her nap. So she's like, I want my nap, you know, she'll like be like, I'm tired, it's time, you know, and she'll feel like a little delirious, but she's like, I'm ready. And I'm always like, oh, right, it is time. So she comes and gets me for nap, so that she wants milkies for nap time. She has milkies in the morning, and then sometimes in the afternoon, and then like at night. And there's like one time, usually like once at night in the middle of the night somewhere, that she'll wake me up. I don't really know what time it is anymore. I feel like it's the wee hours. I feel like it's somewhere in the 5 o'clock range, because I can usually see the moon like in the sky getting lighter. So, she nurses and pinches the other boob, and it hurts. It's so, you guys, and I fight her so hard on it. I like push her hand away, and she like gets it back, and I'll like smash my other boob with my hand, and then she like wiggles her little tiny fingers underneath there. We get into like a hand war fight over the nipple, and I'm like, and then when people are like, why don't you just not let her? And I'm like, because at some point you just give in, and then I'm just sitting there like tweaking, waiting for her to stop doing it so I can go to sleep. That, and then when she falls asleep, sometimes she like bites onto the nipple accidentally, like locks on, and then I have to pry her mouth open and like push her off. But I mean, mostly it's been great. It's been a great journey. I mean, I'm starting to see the end a little bit myself, where I'm just like, I feel like we're getting there to where like it's not totally necessary to happen all the time. Although through the cold and flu season that we just had, I was so grateful to have breastfeeding because she was so sick so much that like it was a constant nourishment and replenishing like, you know, those like electrolytes and keeping her hydrated and everything. So anyway, I feel
she's 2.5.
She'll be 3 in September. So
I
feel you. It's tough when they get rough, but I think the best thing to do is to keep telling them like, you know, that really doesn't feel good. Like I love giving you milkies. I love nursing you. But when you do this or you do this, like it actually hurts me and you don't want to hurt mommy. Right. And Winter's always like, no, you know? And so then she'll be like, I'm like, show me gentle. And then she'll like pretend to show me gentle, you know, she'll like kind of pat me. And I think that's better rather than not addressing it. I think you have to address it because, you know, just sort of like continuing to nurse and like they're being sort of rough with you and you're just kind of like, agitated, but like
and
you have to
fighting them.
Yeah, you have to confront it. You know, you got to like talk about it in a gentle way. And then, and always with breastfeeding, like when you get extended breastfeeding, if you're getting to the point where you're, okay, I think I'm done, like then listen. That's okay. Listen to that voice because you really have to be there mentally, physically. Like it's important to be able to show up. And if you're dreading every nursing session because it's become too much or rough or whatever, you just don't want to get to that place. It's not going to be good for you.
You don't want to take away from the positive feelings that you've had nursing that child. And so I feel like that's a good indication if you're getting to the point where you're having like nipple aversion and it's not feeling good. That's probably a good indication that you're ready to start slowly transitioning out of that experience. I tried to do that thing, you know, where they say like, just let them decide themselves, where you do the like, you don't offer them. And if they don't ask, like that's how a lot of people just stop nursing. But Poet was so relentless. Like she asked and asked and asked and asked and asked, like, and she would have still asked.
Oh,
and
for
in
sure.
fact, like the other day, she even said to me, she was like, oh, it's just so sad that I don't have mama milk. So sad. And I just was like, oh,
that's not going to stop. I have to tell you that Esme still looks at, and Esme is almost 7 years old and she still watches Winter nurse sometimes and she's like, oh, Winter's so cute. And then she'll sit in my lap and lay her head against me and she's like, I miss nursing so much.
Oh,
and I'm like,
babe.
She's like, I just wish I could have a little milk. And I'm like, I know, I hear you, but no.
I tried like, saying that like, you know, the boobies really understand when it's time to move away from nursing. When you get old enough, the boobies know. So it only makes enough milk, the kind of milk that's right for your little sister. That's the kind of milk the boobies are making now. And for so many years, it made the Poet milk and then it made the Poet Prairie milk. And now it's just making the Prairie milk. So I tried to.
Do they say like, okay, fine, I don't care. I'll have some prairie milk.
I'll have the prairie milk.
Whatever.
I'll have the prairie milk. I know.
I'm like,
well, you know, my nursing journey obviously has been really long. Every single day since 2014, February 17th, without a break. So I was thinking, I was like, oh, if I have another one, which I think I'm going to have another one. I'm not at that point of not wanting to have another baby. Will this be the first time that I stop and then get pregnant or am I going to be pushing through until she's 3.5 and then I'm pregnant and then I just wonder, I'm like, am I just going forever? Am I going forever? Yeah, but every baby's different. And, you know, Poet was probably the hardest for me to wean. Forrest was so easy. In fact, Bodhi was very easy too. And he was 3.5. Forrest was like closer to 4. And then Poet was like basically her 4th birthday.
Wow.
So good luck. Put the boundaries in place. Listen to your intuition. And Sarah, is there anything else?
Yes. I feel like we had somebody asking about someone was asking about health after having a baby. And also about celiac. Someone asked us about celiac. So I was just quickly going to touch on that. So, somebody was asking about health and exercise after having a baby, but postpartum, and she was saying she was a couple of years out, from having her baby. And I think you have to just like listen to your body, see what makes you feel the best. And, it's interesting. Everybody's going to feel different. I go through these times in postpartum where I'm like, I am not going anywhere near an exercise. Like I want to live in my like postpartum skin and I want to have this time with my baby. And then I've had other times in postpartum where I'm like ready to go on my walks and like, wearing my exercise clothes and like that kind of stuff. So it's really different. I don't know if that's a hormonal thing or if just it's like a state of mind in postpartum. But I think the best thing is like listening to where you're at and what you need during that time, and eating, really focusing so much on eating nourishing foods and things that are going to give you energy, those like dark leafy greens, like having nut butters, things that are just going to keep you going. And like, when you're tired, all you want to eat is like a bag of Fritos, right? Or like something just yuck that is going to taste really yummy in the moment and fill that, like give you that thing in your mind where you're just like, yum, this is so good. But really it's not nourishing you in any way. And it's actually going to deplete you even more, just like, you're being depleted already if you're nursing or just that, those hormones in postpartum. So, but I was going to say that one thing that I've been doing recently, just one day I was like, I've been trying so hard to incorporate, because I know it's important to exercise, to get that blood flow going, just for my like mental state, and starting my morning with those like gratitude lists and intentions. And like, I've been in this very different place over the last, 6 months, like where I have been waking up in the morning and I'm doing my like gratitude and, just walking through my day a little bit differently, so that it's not just that I wake up and it's work, because that's what I normally would do. And I'm trying to give myself this like space of, carving out a little bit of time. And, it's like your own version of self-care. But, I noticed that I was like, I'm going to try doing something where I'm a little bit more consistent. And I started getting up and doing so I have the Peloton app. And so I get up and I do either yoga or bar or weights, like a strength workout. And I was like, what if I just keep going? And I do it every morning for like 20 minutes or 30 minutes and see what happens. And so it's been about 30 days, you guys. And I have been, yes. And I have been working out for 30 days, every single morning. And it started when the kids were still in school. So like I would get up in the morning and I would go make a coffee and I would leave the front door open and I would go down to our garage and I would start my workout. And the kids, when they woke up in the morning in their PJs, that's where they would come and find me. So like, and even winter, which was great. So then that was when I started to get a little bit more consistent. And then I started doing it where I'm like, I think I need to do this every day and see if I can be consistent and how does that make me feel? And when I started going to bed at night, it started to make me like excited about getting up tomorrow.
God.
It's the crazy. This has never happened to me. I'm not this person.
Like a routine. Wow.
I'm not this person, but I am craving this routine because after I do it, I feel really good. And I'm like, okay, I can start my day.
Yes.
And I like take a shower and I'm like doing my work and, whatever I need to do. But it's been awesome. And I just wanted to put that out there that maybe routine is something that, that some of you need or consistency of some sort, even if it's 20 minutes, if it's a meditation, if it's a yoga on your app, like some kind of app, whatever it is, but carving out that time if you can. And that's me waking up like before or as the sun is coming up. So that's very, very early in the morning, but it's like, helping me be consistent. Anyway, so that was my little tidbit there. And then maybe we should maybe we have to get to celiac the next time because there's just so much to unpack with celiac. So for the person who asked about celiac disease, we will hit that up on our next Ask Us Anything.
Yes.
Because I have celiac disease. It's a tough autoimmune disease. But I've not eaten wheat in 15 years. So I definitely know a lot about it and can help with lots of different things that you can do that makes you feel less, like you're missing out on so much. But anyway, thank you guys for all the questions. And you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you, Daisies.
Thanks,
we'll see you soon.
Have a great day.
Bye.